and I want to go to your phone calls. I want to get your take on all the different issues I've been talking about. And I want to hear what you have to say about the so-called debt ceiling, which really is rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. I want to get your view on the fact that, I mean, is my message getting out? Do you understand what I'm saying? That the big mega fortunes all are making their money out of sweetheart inside deals with government for corporate welfare or exemption from taxes they lobby for across the board to shut down their competition. I mean, is that message telegraphing out there to the people? I want to hear from you. The toll-free number to join us is 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. Again, 877-789-ALEX, and we'll get you up and on the air. Coming up in the next segment, we'll take a battery of calls or two, and then I will get more into the debt ceiling itself. In fact, I'll do that briefly on the other side and then go to your calls. And then I'm going to get into the ATF article that went up Friday and should be one of the biggest articles that we've ever put out, but of course it isn't. Sometimes I'll put out some article that's important, but nothing compared to this, and it gets read by 5 million people in a week and, you know, is the #1 story on the web or in the top 10. And then something like this, so big, so obvious, so clear, so brazen, so naked, so out in the open, so absolutely outrageous. Exclusive, ATF intimidates gun owners with home visits. And it gets into our sources that talk to the ATF here in Austin and other issues, and Fast and Furious and all of it. That is going to be coming up after I go through some of your phone calls this evening. And, of course, the gun grabbers who've been publicly caught shipping the guns into Mexico are now exploiting all this to try to pass more victim disarmament. Well, they're total Chicago mob types. I mean, what on earth do you expect to happen from these people? The #1 mission of a hardcore criminal is disarm the prey. That's why lions and tigers and bears, oh my, target creatures that are prey animals that don't have teeth and claws and don't attack back. That's why when you don't shoot a few mountain lions or a few grizzly bears or a few polar bears a year, they start coming into your town and eating you. And we've allowed government to act just like that. And we got grizzly bears living inside our houses telling us give them more, 70% on average or more isn't enough. And I've had it. It's time for good people to have a code of liberty and freedom and not put up with thugs and bullies pushing them around and to explode in their face every time they get in your face, and then we'll get back to a system of great wealth. But, you know, it's got to go through the total collapse first, because we had the liberty so long, we became fat, dumb, and happy, myself included. And we're tortured by the brainwashing, the stuff on the television. Our psyches are turned inside out, and we're poisoned by the GMO, by all the rest of it. And so we're going to be going over all of that after the break as well. And I've got a few other little schniblets of news here. I haven't even gotten into all the incredible military news that's in this stack right here. Let me just give you a rundown of that. Rebel militia confirmed guilty of assassination of General Younes. Turns out one rival al-Qaeda group run by the U.S. and Europe killed the other al-Qaeda group, something our researchers who've been in Tripoli reported over a month and a half ago. But al-Qaeda's fighting with itself over who gets the hundreds of billions in oil money in Libya and $10 billion in gold. Also, Libyan rebel leader killed by allied militia. That's another headline. Here's one. Libyan TV still on air despite NATO bombing. When NATO bombed it, dropping 3 missiles on it, they called it terror broadcast. Now a country's TV is terrorism. Even broadcasting against the occupation is evil. Can you believe we've been bombing them for 4 months and they got TV on? It's terror. They got a TV transmission. Syria army kills 80 people storming Hama. I'm against that. But I'm also against Israel mowing all those folks down a month ago. But
Sister, what have you done?
Hey, little bankers, what have you done? You created 1.5 quadrillion in derivatives. You sold them to everybody to buy up the planet through fraud. And now you're setting up Northcom martial law power in case the American people don't want to go into debt slavery for you. But don't worry, you got the shotgun. And the general public can't figure this out. So there's a good chance your gang raping's never going to stop. People like it when Stalin kills 60 million, Mao 60-plus million, Hitler tens of millions. Folks still mind the government when they're marched into trenches and shot with their babies in their arms. Because those people aren't conspiracy theorists. They're conformist. Well, not Alex Jones, not me. When you got Bernie Ecclestone with more than 50 Formula One tracks, every one of them paid for with taxpayer money, exempt from taxes, and his daughter given $4 billion last year, lovingly, by Mr. Carleone. And here in Austin, they're having basically the whole track still paid for by taxpayers, tax exempt, total raping. If you won't sell your property, they're just going to take it eminent domain. And the city council, it won't matter if Ecclestone gets arrested. His banker's been arrested, and the Germans say he was involved in the fraud. It won't. The city council will call for the German government's arrest before they say a word. My money goes to Ecclestone, period. And if I don't like it, the Austin SWAT team's standing by. Okay, I said I was going to settle down. You know, I was going to come in here and talk about your stupid media reporting on the debt limit, everything. You'd think that birds wouldn't sing and grass wouldn't grow and that, you know, mama couldn't make pancakes in the morning if it wasn't for government. Government. Every channel, the government, the bankers, our debt limit, the bankers. We're all being taught, just like in third world countries where they're obsessed with currency value and debt limits. We've been maneuvered by a criminal class, a criminal political class, itself owned by foreign banks. We've been maneuvered now to the position where we're being told just keep raising taxes forever while you cut the services and pay everything to the offshore banks that set this fraud up, who you don't owe the money to, or you'll have a total collapse and lose your debt rating. And as Ron Paul has said, and many others, economist Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former head of the Treasury, and many others have said it is all a distraction. The foreign banks, the big six that have taken over this country through their beachhead, the Federal Reserve, in 1913, created, and even the Washington Post reports this, 1,500 trillion in derivatives, and that was a year ago. The numbers are bigger now. It's a debt black hole, hundreds of times all the wealth in the world. You cannot pay it back. It is a total fraud. All the assets, all the taxes, all the everything in the entire U.S. isn't even 100 trillion, and we're told we owe these bankers 640+ trillion, Washington Post. That is, last number I saw, 500 and something thousand per family. And that's if you average everybody together. You got 70-something million on Social Security, 49 million on food stamps, another 30 million on full welfare, another large portion, different numbers are out there, on government contracts. So 2/3 of the country are on the government mammary gland. And they're looking at the other 1/3 of us and going, get ready, we're going to butcher you. And it's kind of like Abel selling his inheritance for a bowl of porridge. If the middle class doesn't get together and say, look here, you can do the numbers. Heck, they've done the numbers. If they took all the middle class's money, it wouldn't pay for $1 trillion. It's less than 1 trillion. 900 and something billion. You can pull that number up. Folks, it is time for people to realize this. There is no paying it off. There is no debt limit. Raise it, don't raise it. If the Republicans came out and said, arrest the head of the Federal Reserve, arrest the private families for fraud, as the Senate committee's already found with the derivatives they sold, government, private industry, you name it, individuals. If they don't talk like that, none of this matters. They're debating government's $14.5 trillion that's a current hangover. They're not talking that under Too Big to Fail, we were legally bound under law to $600 plus trillion dollars of the, quote, U.S. share of the 1.5 quadrillion worldwide. So, no, I'm not going to talk about and perseverate and freak out about like it's some soap opera for the thinking man and talk all day about the stupid debt ceiling. The Republicans want to cut $3 trillion. The Democrats want to cut $1.5 trillion. What are we going to do? Cut this welfare. Cut that welfare. Freeze Social Security. That'll fix it. None of it. You could cut every entitlement under the sun. You've been signed on to banker fraud. These bankers, since 1913, are able to loan out. For every dollar you go down and deposit in their little stinking bank, they can loan out $10. And when do those bankers, quote, make wealth, make money, because they just issue the printed garbage and the digital garbage? When you don't pay off the farm, when you don't pay off the house. They get the down payments, they get all the investment, they get the interest, and then they flip it and sell it again. So what do bankers, big bankers, want? They like depressions, and it's the congressional record they engineered, the 1929 crash on record. You want to go read the senator's quotes? You want to go read all of them from Lindbergh and McFadden? Believe me, I'm somebody, see, while you're reading about football, or while you're reading about, you know, what bar to pick up chicks, or while you're reading about the latest cosmetics, whatever you're into, while you're reading about, you know, cheat sheets to hack World of Warcraft or Halo or whatever it's called, while you're doing that, I'm reading Rockefeller Foundation documents that are public and posting them on Infowars.com, where they talk about putting cancer viruses in vaccines. And then I find out those very cancers have been found, cancer viruses, in the vaccines, and then I learned that they've learned how to engineer sterilants into the vaccines. I kind of get mad about that. There's a creepy group running the government that's jacking the food and water. I'm a weirdo, you know? I mean, I'm a fruitcake. I'm a lunatic. I read about some gangster guy overseas coming into Austin, want me to pay for his Formula One track. Here he is, his banker indicted. The Germans say they're set to indict him. You know, told you a year ago the guy was... definitely a scammer. It's a scam to come into Austin and lobby my little dirtbag politicians to take my tax money and give it to him over in Europe. So his daughter can have 50, how many thousand square feet was her house? You finally got the number? 56,000 square feet if you don't count the helicopter pads and facility. And great, have it all day, lady, but don't you go around and have your think tanks tell all the poor, dumbed-down people, hey, let's get the rich guys that make $125,000 a year. Man, they're rich. Let's raise their taxes so you can suck it out of the country through your corporate welfare. Get out of my life. Stop usurping me. Stop trying to control me. I'm sick of you. I see you. I hate you. I hate you so much. I don't even care what happens to me because I've got the spirit of rebellion against tyranny in me. I have a spirit of love of God and submitting to God's commandments of good and decent things. And I have a spirit of 110% total rocket-fueled hatred and rebellion against pot-bellied scumbags that get together in societies of con men and crooks and turn us into an effeminate, degenerate, hunchback society, bowing down and licking your hands, and I will not be part of it anymore. I will see all of the globalists arrested. I will see them hauled up and tried by juries of their peers. And then you know what comes after that. And you think this is oh my, honey, listen to this crazy guy. I know you just said that to your wife driving on the road. This is what a common sense person being usurped and enslaved sounds like. You know, you find somebody breaking into your house, robbing you, don't you get mad? You have a sense of outrage, of trespass? But why is it when big, giant, powerful people rape you, you lay down? Because you feel powerless, so you bend over. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.